what Trump exposes every day, by the way, in a cruder and cruder and more dangerous way, is his belief that he can post something on Truth Social and the world has to respond to it. And that he can give orders to Putin, or he can give orders to Xi Jinping, or he can give orders to Lula, or he can give orders to the BRICS, and everybody's going to fall in line. That's his real belief. It's at a personal level rather crude, but it's kind of in the air in Washington that, oh, yes, multipolar. Marco Rubio says these things once in a while in speeches, but really America is going to tell the world what to do. And what's problematic right now is the rest of the world isn't going to follow the U.S. line. And we have a president that is out of control of law in the United States. He just issues executive decrees. He issues orders every day. The Supreme Court has basically said, we're not going to stop him. Congress has said, we're pathetic. We have nothing to do with this. And so we have one person, nearly an octogenarian, who has delusions of American power, who is giving orders every day to the world. The orders change by the hour. The rest of the world is, some are trying to say, yes, please, we love you, we respect you, we honor you. But in fact, a lot of the world follows President Lula's line, although President Lula is just about the only one with the gumption to say it. He said last week, we don't want an emperor, period. And he meant it. And when the United States, not the United States, by the way, when Donald Trump responded by saying, okay, Brazil gets 50% tariffs, President Lula said, okay, we have a reciprocity law, we retaliate. We don't want an emperor. This is where we are this week. It's rather shocking. It's rather amazing. It's not, let's live in a multipolar world, let's make peace, let's make business, let's get along. It's more dangerous than that right now. It is an erratic leader that it has no institutional control, who both exemplifies and exacerbates this Western delusion of power over the rest of the world, something that is past. It's already passé. It's already an anachronism. It was true, by the way, for 200 or 250 years, but it ain't true today. And this conflict between the perception and the reality is very dangerous.
You just heard Dr. Jeffrey Sachs, economist, Columbia professor, and one of the few voices inside the American elite willing to speak truth about U.S. foreign policy, deliver a rare and unfiltered assessment. Trump believes he can post something on Truth Social, and the world has to respond. And worse, he thinks he can give orders to Putin, Xi, or Lula, and they'll obey. That's not just arrogance. That's delusion. And it's not just Trump. It's Washington itself. Let's unpack what Sachs said and why this moment reveals the deepening collapse of American global power. Sachs pulls no punches. We have one person, nearly an autocrat, who has delusions of American power, giving orders every day to the world. That's not hyperbole. That's reality. Trump doesn't govern. He tweets. He doesn't negotiate. He blusters. He doesn't lead. He orders. And when the world ignores him, he retaliates. Like when Brazil's President Lula dared to say, "We don't want an emperor." What was Trump's response? Tariffs. Threats. A childish temper tantrum. Because in his mind, and in the minds of many in Washington, the world still revolves around the U.S. But that world is gone, and the rest of the planet knows it. Sachs makes a crucial point. America has ruled the world for 200 to 250 years, but that era is over. That's the key. The U.S. still behaves like the sole superpower, but the world has moved on. China, Russia, India, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, they're building a new system, one that doesn't include Washington calling all the shots. And when Trump tries to act like a global emperor, he gets laughed at. Or worse, ignored. Because the global South isn't afraid of tariffs. They're tired of being bossed around. And now, they're pushing back. Lula did it first. Others are following. Sachs highlights a moment most Western media ignored. President Lula said last week, "We don't want an emperor." Period. And he meant it. That line should be carved into the tombstone of the unipolar world order. For decades, the U.S. told the global South what to do, who to trade with, who to sanction, who to support in war. But Lula drew a line. We won't live under your rule anymore. And when Trump responded with 50% tariffs, Lula didn't flinch. He hit back with a reciprocity law. If you attack us, we attack you. That's not just diplomacy. That's defiance. And it's happening all over the world. From Moscow to Beijing to Riyadh, nations are saying no to U.S. demands. And Trump doesn't know how to handle it. So he lashes out, randomly, without strategy, without consequence. Sachs nails the deeper issue. The conflict between perception and reality is very dangerous. The U.S. still sees itself as the world sheriff. But the rest of the world sees the truth. America can't win wars. It can't control inflation. It can't fix its own economy. And it certainly can't tell sovereign nations what to do. Yet Trump keeps issuing orders, executive decrees, sanctions, threats, as if the world is still in 1991. And that's the danger. When your leader lives in a fantasy and wields real military and economic power, the risk of miscalculation becomes enormous. Here's the takeaway from Sachs' comments. It's not about living in a multipolar world. It's already here. The only question is whether the U.S. will accept it or fight it. Trump clearly chooses the latter. He doesn't want cooperation. He wants submission. He doesn't want peace. He wants dominance. And that puts him at odds with the entire world, except for a shrinking circle of NATO allies who are also running out of patience. Even Europe is questioning U.S. leadership. Even Japan and South Korea are hedging toward China. And Latin America, Africa, the Middle East? They've already made their choice. They want multipolarity, not because they hate the U.S., because they're tired of being treated like subjects. In conclusion, Dr. Jeffrey Sachs gives us a rare and honest look at the real forces shaping global politics today. Trump isn't just chaotic. He's a symptom of a dying worldview, one that assumes American power is eternal, that the world must obey, and that history stopped in 1991. But didn't. History is moving forward, and the world is leaving Washington behind. Stay tuned for more analysis right here on The Informed Perspective. Until next time, stay informed and think critically.
What Trump exposes every day, in an increasingly crude and dangerous way, is his belief that he can post something on Truth Social and the world must respond. He genuinely believes he can issue orders to Putin, to Xi Jinping, to Lula, or to the BRICS nations, and everyone will fall in line. That's his core mindset. It's crude at a personal level, but this attitude is also in the air in Washington. Sure, figures like Marco Rubio occasionally talk about a multipolar world in their speeches, but the underlying belief in Washington is still that America will tell the world what to do. The problem now is that the rest of the world isn't going to follow the U.S. line anymore. What's even more concerning is that we have a president who is out of control of the law. He issues executive decrees daily. The Supreme Court has essentially said, "We're not going to stop him." Congress has admitted its own irrelevance. They've given up. So we're left with one man, nearly an octogenarian, issuing orders to the world, driven by delusions of American dominance. Those orders change by the hour. Some parts of the world still try to show deference, saying, "Yes, we respect you, we honor you." But in truth, much of the world follows President Lula's position, and he's one of the few leaders with the courage to say it out loud. Last week, Lula said, plainly and clearly, "We don't want an emperor." And he meant it. When Donald Trump responded by slapping Brazil with 50% tariffs, Lula replied, "Fine. We have a reciprocity law. We'll retaliate. We still don't want an emperor." This is where we are right now. It's shocking. It's astonishing. And it's not about living peacefully in a multipolar world, doing business and getting along. It's far more dangerous than that. We're dealing with an erratic leader who has no institutional checks and who both reflects and worsens the West's delusion of power over the rest of the world. a delusion that's already obsolete. That era is over. It may have been true for 200 or 250 years, but not anymore. And this widening gap between perception and reality is incredibly dangerous. Ask ChatGPT.